Lung volume and capacities are of two types. One is static, which is measured by spirometry. One is static, which is measured by spirometry. In other, time factor is involved, flow is involved. So that is called as flow volume loop curve. So first of all, PFT, the normal amount of air you take in and out, in and out, in and out. What is this called as, doctor? It is called as tidal volume. So the normal amount of air you take in and out is called as simply tidal volume. So what is tidal volume? Tidal volume is the amount of air which you take in and out at resting condition. And the amount of air which you can take above and over the tidal volume. Now, above and over tidal volume is called as inspiratory reserve volume. So, amount of air which is reserved, which you can take above and over the tidal volume is called as inspiratory reserve volume. Now, when you are expiring, so normally it is tidal, but when you expire forcefully, so the amount of air which you can expire above and over tidal volume is called as expiratory reserve volume. Is this clear, doctor? Now, so these are the volumes, and when you combine these together, it becomes capacity. For example, if I combined tidal volume with inspiratory reserve volume, it is called as IC. IC means inspiratory capacity. You can see in this diagram. I have combined VT is tidal volume. I have combined tidal volume with IRV. It becomes inspiratory capacity. Is this clear, doctor? Similarly, what is the residual volume? The amount of air which is left in the lung even after forceful expiration. So, amount of air which is in the lung even after forceful expiration is called as residual volume, RV. You cannot remove this amount of air. It is called as residual volume. Now, if you combined ERV with RV, this will be called as functional residual capacity. The most important capacity for your exam. Functional residual capacity. Right now, if you are sitting and watching my lecture, can you tell me what amount of air your lung is having right now? I have told you it is not tidal volume. Tidal volume you take in and out, in and out. It is not residual volume, because residual volume is the amount of air which you expire after forceful expiration. So, amount of air which you have right now in your lung after normal expiration is FRC. That is why FRC is called as equilibrium volume. Equilibrium volume. It maintains the equilibrium. Now, if you combine, for example, if I ask you, what is the maximum amount of air which you can expire after full inspiration? After full inspiration, what is the maximum air you can expire? Answer will be vital capacity. So, vital capacity is actually inspiratory capacity plus ERV. So, VC plus ERV is called as vital capacity. In vital capacity, you will not include residual volume. You are not going to include residual volume. And if you combine vital capacity with residual volume, this becomes total lung capacity. So, total lung capacity is equal to vital capacity plus residual volume. Please draw this diagram, practice this diagram. This will be very, very helpful for being a good doctor, for your examination, for your PG, NEET PG, MCQ purpose. Is this clear, doctor? So, now what are the normal volumes? So, usually tidal volume is 0.5 liter, 500 ml. Usually FRC is 2.4 liter. Total lung capacity is 6 liter. Breathing frequency is around 12 to 16 per minute. Okay. These are the average value. It depends on body, height, weight, ethnicity, gender. So, it is not a constant value. I am just giving you idea. Now, one more things. Sometimes they ask you partial pressure. It is around -5 centimeter water. This we have discussed already. Chest wall compliance and lung compliance both are 0.2 liter per centimeter. Is this clear? at FRC, okay. And when you combine together total respiratory system, this become, I have told you, only 0.1 liter per centimeter. So if they ask you that compliance of total respiratory system, it become 0.1 liter per centimeter of water. One more important entity. What is the closing volume? Closing volume is the lung volume above residual volume at which airways in the lower dependent portion of lung begin to close. So lung volume above the residual volume. In this diagram you can see, if I can plot the new image in this, closing volume is the amount of air above the residual volume, where alveoli start closing is called as closing volume. I hope now it is clear. So closing volume is the amount of air above the residual volume at which your alveoli start collapsing. This is called as closing volume. One more entity, what is closing capacity? If you combine closing volume with residual volume, this is called as closing capacity. You can see here. Closing volume is the lung volume above residual volume at which airways in the lower dependent portion of lung begin to close. It is usually 10% of vital capacity. It increases with age up to 40% of vital capacity. So as we age, okay, our closing volume comes earlier. Your alveoli start closing earlier. So now it becomes 40% of vital capacity as we age. And I have told you closing capacity is equal to closing volume plus residual volume. Now, spirometry cannot measure. What are the things that cannot be measured by spirometry? You are not able to remove the air which is extra in your lung. That is called as residual volume. So, what are the things that cannot be calculated? Number one, residual volume. Number two, FRC, because it also have RV. And number three is TLC, because it also have RV. So, residual volume cannot be calculated by spirometry. So, what are the method to measure this FRC? It is also called as, it could be a volume. I have told you, number one is helium dilution method. By helium dilution method, you can calculate V is the initial volume, C is the initial concentration of helium, C2 is the final concentration of helium. So by this formula, you are able to measure the FRC from initial volume. Second is nitrogen washout method. Again, this is the formula, FRC is equal to initial volume into C1 by C2. And the third, by which we are using in clinical condition, it is body plethysmography, when we use P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. Minimum, you need to remember the names. What are the methods to measure FRC? Number one, helium dilution method. Number two, nitrogen washout method. Number three, body plethysmography. Now comes dynamic lung volume and capacity. So dynamic lung volume and capacity, it also involves the time. For example, maximum amount of air which you can expire forcefully after full inspiration is called as FEV1. So air expired in 1 second forcefully after taking full inspiration is called as FEV1. So what is FEV1? Amount of air released in only 1 second. What is FVC? It is the maximum amount of air which you can expire after taking full inspiration. So that was only 1 second. This is the total amount of air you can expire. It's called as FVC. So FEV1 by FVC is a very important parameter for diagnosing so many disorders we will see later on, and that is called as Tiffnews index. So FEV1 by FVC is called as Tiffnews index. If it is less than 70%, it is definitely obstructive lung disease, like asthma, like bronchitis, like emphysema. So when FEV1 by FVC is lesser than 70%, chances are that patient is having obstructive lung disease. Problem is in the airways, okay, from trachea to terminal bronchiole or from respiratory bronchial up to the alveoli, they are called as airways. And if FEV1 by FVC more than 70%, either it can be restrictive lung disease or patient can be normal. So if it is more than 70%, so how you will diagnose patient is normal or having RLD? Answer is that in RLD, FEV1 will be lesser than predicted value. FVC is lesser than predicted value. But FEV1 will be greater than 70% of FVC. If patient is normal, everything will be normal. So what is the predicted value? Actually, this is a software based program. In the laptop, we have a software, we have a mouthpiece, and this result will come out. But before starting the practical, we need to put the name, age, sex, height, ethnicity, and predicted value will come accordingly. Now you have to compare. If FEV1, if FVC, they are almost like predicted value, patient is normal. If FEV1 is very less than predicted value, FVC is lesser than predicted value, but the ratio is more than 70%, patient is RLD. Very, very important point. Now comes restrictive lung disease. They are of two types. I told you RLD. One is about the parenchymal. So whenever there is fibrosis of the parenchyma, they are called as parenchymal restrictive lung disease. And when there is restriction due to the bony cage, sternum, ribs, vertebrae, pectus carinatum, pectus excavatum, scoliosis, kyphosis, they all are the bony problems. So lung cannot expand. There is problem in the expansion due to bony cage deformity. They are called as extra parenchymal lung disease. Rest all are called as parenchymal lung disease. Now PEFR, MMEFR. What is a PEFR? It is the peak expiratory flow rate. I told you, after taking full inspiration, you have to blow for 6 seconds at least. So the maximum flow when you are expiring is called as peak expiratory flow rate. So peak expiratory flow rate is the maximum airflow during forceful expiration. MMEFR is the maximum mid expiratory flow rate, and this is the first parameter to decrease in small airway obstruction. Sometimes they will ask you what is the first parameter, and I have seen that students say FEV1 by FVC less than 70%. Very good. Definitely they are less than 20%, but even before that, if there is some obstruction in the small airways, the first parameter to decrease is maximum mid expiratory flow rate. So this is about flow volume loop curve. This is called as inspiratory and this is expiratory. So when we inspire completely, this will convert from residual volume, okay, to total lung capacity. So suppose that right now, total lung capacity. If we expire fully, it will become residual volume. So this is your expiration from here to here. This is expiration and this is inspiration. So when we inspire completely, this becomes total lung capacity, and we expire forcefully, again it becomes residual volume. So this is called as actually flow volume loop curve, and the maximum flow on the x-axis you can see the volume, on the y-axis the maximum flow is called as peak expiratory flow rate, and this is the mid one, it is called as maximum mid expiratory flow rate. Okay, so this is normal flow volume loop curve, and in the same loop curve, if you get this scalloped curve, this sofa like structure, okay, why? Because MMEFR become less. So this structure is showing that patient is having obstructive lung disease. So just by looking at the diagram, you can say that this patient is having obstructive lung disease. Now, if you are seeing any problem in the inspiratory curve, usually it is extrathoracic obstruction. And if there is any problem in expiratory curve, it is usually intrathoracic obstruction, and if there is problem in both inspiratory and obstructive, it is fixed obstruct, and most common cause is usually problem in the inspiration also, problem in the expiration also. So most common cause is foreign body, impaction of foreign body. So if it is in the inspiratory curve, it is basically extrathoracic, okay, that is intrathoracic, and this is your flow volume loop curve. But the main thing is that obstructive lung disease, please don't forget two things at least: the normal curve, the obstructive curve, and in the restrictive curve you will simply get a small curve. Shape will be same, but curve will be smaller. Then patient is having restrictive lung disease. So at least minimum what you are supposed to remember is the normal flow volume loop curve, the inspiratory, the expiratory, the obstructive curve, and this restrictive lung disease. Now about the lung disease, you can solve all the MCQ. You can give all the Viva Voice question and the clinical question if you understand this flow chart. This is a wonderful flow chart. Lung disease are of two types, obstructive and restrictive. Whenever someone is showing obstructive lung disease, what should come to your mind? There is always trapping of air. When there is a air trapping during expiration, see, inspiration, when you expire, there is somehow trapping of air, it is obstructive lung disease, and because of trapping of air, this is going to increase residual volume and total lung capacity. So because of trapping of air, every time you breathe, every time residual volume will increase, and that will cause increase in total lung capacity, doctors. On the other hand, if someone is saying you about restrictive lung disease, so whenever they say restrictive lung disease, one thing should come to your mind immediately. If it is parenchymal, I'm not telling about the extra parenchymal. If it is parenchymal, definitely the first feature will be diffusion will decrease. Because of fibrosis, you know, the thickness will increase, and rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the thickness. So thickness will increase, so diffusion is going to decrease. So the first thing that should come to your mind, you should not forget in your exam, whenever they say restrictive lung disease, immediately what should come to your mind? Diffusion capacity will decrease. And already I have discussed FEV1 by FVC is less than 70%. In RLD, FEV1 by FVC is more than 70%. Okay, DLCO will decrease as I have told you earlier. Compliance here will be more, and here compliance will be less. Okay, and the only capacity that is going to decrease in both obstructive as well as restrictive, answer is vital capacity. So vital capacity is the only capacity that is going to decrease either in the restrictive lung disease or in the obstructive lung disease. Answer will be vital capacity. Last point, I told you diffusion usually decreases in the restrictive lung disease, but if they ask you, is there any obstructive lung disease where they have all the feature of obstruction and diffusion capacity is also less, then what is your diagnosis? Answer is simply emphysema. Emphysema is a obstructive lung disease where you can see diffusion capacity is also less.